Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. The Crew Motorfest Year 2 Season 5. There are a few things we can go over, sort of giving my opinion on the season. There are some questions that I'm asking myself. Why did they do that? What is the purpose of this? We'll go over it. Let's first talk about the price, I guess. The Crew Motorfest Pass Year 2, $29.99. You are pretty much buying a playlist with 7 vehicles. There are 13 other vehicles involved in the Year 2 Pass, being early access, meaning that whenever they drop those vehicles in the game, you will get them immediately, but if not, you can get them next week in the shop for in-game bucks. So you should not count those 13 vehicles as being part of the Year 2 Pass. That's how I see that. They are not exclusive or anything like that. So you're paying 30 bucks for the police playlist and 7 police vehicles, 6 cars and a helicopter. Is that worth 30 bucks? Very questionable. The next thing which is very questionable is this here. With the new season, they also updated the new Gold Edition and the new Ultimate Edition. The new Gold Edition is now, instead of the Year 1 Pass, it now includes the Year 2 Pass plus the game. And the new Ultimate Edition is the Year 1 Pass, the Year 2 Pass, the fitted pack, and then the game, of course. But here is the strange thing about that. It's 120 bucks, which is exactly the same as the Ultimate Edition in the Year 1. So if you bought this edition, the Ultimate Edition, let's say 2 weeks ago or a month ago, then you would pay the same price. Now they come up with a new version. They do not ask more money for it, but it includes the Year 2 Pass, which is worth 30 bucks, we just noticed. And here's the strange part. People that bought the game 2 or 3 weeks ago or a month ago, they do not get the Year 2 Pass. They also do not get the option to upgrade for, let's say, for 10 bucks or for 15 bucks. They do not get that option. If you bought the Ultimate Edition 2 weeks ago, for the same price, you have to buy the Year 2 Pass separately for 30 bucks. I've never experienced that in any game. In other games, if a situation like this occurs, when they are asking for a new version the same price as for the old version, then either the people get the Year 2 Pass for free, or they at least get the option to upgrade to the new Ultimate Edition for, let's say, for 10-15 bucks. For either 1/3 or half the price that the thing is actually worth. Never experienced this. 2 weeks difference, you have to pay 30 bucks more because you have to buy the thing separately. And no option to upgrade. Never seen that. Anyway, that's about the numbers, but already very questionable what we have seen there. Which brings us to the next question. Is it worth that 30 bucks? In my opinion, it's not. It's a playlist which has 9 events in it, I think. And then you get these 7 cars, which are more or less hidden, most of them in the Rivals board. We'll go over it. Whenever the game starts, bear with me. Because that is also something. That Ubisoft launcher is still in beta. That is in beta for about a year now, and that thing still does not work properly. It takes ages before the game boots up, then it finally boots up, then you press continue, and then you get that same free show. That's why I'm putting it all in the video here, because this is what I'm experiencing here now booting up the game. I haven't closed it that long ago, so it should even boot up quicker because, you know, the cache and so should still be there. We played for like, I just did a 9-hour stream about half an hour ago, so. This is how long it takes to get into this game. Start your engines. Here we go. Bear with me, people, we're not there yet. So you get some sort of new background pictures in a way. We saw the bamboo forest, we saw the police cars. And then we get this thing here, where you have to press continue. Watch this free show here, what's gonna happen now. There we go, freeze 1, freeze 2. And then it's even the question, are we gonna get in or are we not gonna get in? It's always wait and see. What? We survived this time.
A new set of challenges await.
So, what have they added? First of all, main stage legacy. I was doing the math on that. This thing's supposed to be like 3 months behind. So if we do like September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June, we should have the July legacy thing already here. Because meanwhile we are November, we should have, the next one should be here already. I have a feeling they forgot about it, but anyway. Then we go to the playlists. We have, of course, the island itself. Let's start with that. That is, of course, free. I think I wouldn't even mind if they would put this in a DLC as a map expansion and then charge us 15 or 20 bucks for it. I wouldn't even mind that. Then you pay for a whole new island, then you pay for content that would make sense. Nope, they decided, no, we'll let everybody on the island, so we give it for free. But then they ask 30 bucks for one stupid playlist. And it is a bloody stupid playlist, I can tell you that. We'll talk about this car later, because there's something else going on which they forgot to tell us. So the playlist that they added for free is Made in Japan Volume 2 events. That thing has 7 events. That is pretty poor. Meanwhile, we are 1 year into the game. Most of us have 500, 600, 700 cars in the garage. Can you use your own cars? No, of course not. We have still this bullshit with this loaned vehicle where the pro settings are locked. So the devs are still thinking that whether you play on a keyboard, on a controller, on a wheel, on a joystick or whatever, that all these cars drive the same. Because that's what we have to deal with. They give us a car with no parts or with green parts in some case with the fair PvP. There's nothing fair about it, but get the idea. And then they lock the pro settings. They do it every week in the summit with this loaned vehicle bullshit, and they do it every time in these playlists as well. We have 700 cars in the garage. We cannot use them anywhere in this playlist until we start replaying these things, which the numbers have shown. What was it, 3 million people playing playlists, but there are 30 million people playing Grand Race. So the numbers also show that the majority of the community doesn't even replay these things ever. So 7 events, it's pretty poor in that playlist, but I'm guessing they sort of copied the first Japanese playlist, which also only had 7 events. Then we go to the side activities. As always, some skill tests, some pictures, you would think. No, not really. Because they managed to break it again. The skill test, no problem, you can complete those, no problem. The pictures, forget about it. Every time you try to take any of these pictures here, you get an error code on your screen. It quickly pops up on the left, photo saved, but it doesn't count. As you can see, I have not taken any pictures according to the game, but it does. It saves the pictures in your photo gallery, but in the playlist it's completely broken and it doesn't count them. So it does not say completed here, which is even worse than in the Donk versus Lowrider playlist, where you could take the pictures and it said completed, but then the bar on top here was broken. That didn't work. They fixed that for the Donk vs Lowrider playlist now, but now they have broken this one, and even more than before, because not only do the photos not count on the bar, you can also not take them without getting an error code. So they have fixed some other playlists, and then they put in 2 playlists, because it's the same for the Japanese playlist as for the police playlist. You cannot take the pictures, so you cannot complete your playlist, you cannot complete your site activities, because the pictures are not taking. Doesn't work. And we know what that means. That means that they probably will fix it. But we also means it probably will be fixed in the beginning of Season 6, somewhere in March, because they have to pay for these updates on PlayStation and probably also a Microsoft Store for the Xbox. So they're trying to save some money, and then they let all these fixes come together every 4 months, so that they only have to pay 2 times or 3 times a year. If this game was only on PC, they would be able to fix this thing on Monday or on Tuesday probably. But since it's also on console where they have to pay for their updates, they always... So yeah, this thing will probably never be fixed until the beginning of next season. You never know. Maybe they surprise us and actually fix it next week, but it would surprise me. The challenges, nothing major there. There are a few things in this playlist. You have to beat the bosses, one of them at night. Nothing specific, of course you need to wait till it's nighttime. Then you have to, one where you need to be in cockpit view. You have to go into your difficulty settings and actually put the cockpit view on, because otherwise it doesn't count. So you go into difficulty settings, and over here cockpit view, you actually have to put that thing on to beat that one boss, to get that challenge done. Even if you put the camera in cockpit view when you just do the event, with this thing off, it will not work. So you need to put it on, and then there's another boss you need to beat with no nitro. So even if you don't use nitro, it doesn't matter, it needs to be off here to be able to make it count. So take that in consideration as well. Then the rivals leaderboard. You first sort of have to beat the 4 lieutenants, and then you will unlock the boss car, and then you could potentially beat him. In the Japanese playlist, that means that you have to beat them by racing against them. It will generate some dynamic race, which is a bit dynamic because it sometimes have a different ending. There was one race where I bumped into traffic a lot, and I had to redo it. I think it was a bus race here eventually. And it was actually 2 times a different track. So the last 20% of the track, we crossed the bridge on the Motorsport island there. And one time we went left, and the second time I did it, we went straight. So it is a bit dynamic in that way. But the race always starts more or less at the same place, because these bosses are always hanging out at the same area. They're basically doing a circle the whole time till you challenge them. In the Japanese playlist, that means that these 5 cars here are up there in your rewards section. So this is one of the gangs, this is one of the gangs, this is one of the... And then eventually the big boss is the last one that you can finish. So in the Japanese playlist, that means that you can earn these vehicles. Pretty similar in the police playlist. Here we have 2 more events, I think. Also here again. You start up the game when you bought the year 2 pass, which I did. I did it so that you don't have to. I spent 30 bucks on that thing. The first thing they do is when you come online is they give you that Audi RS6 police car. That is given to you. So then you go to this first event, what do you have to use? An Audi RS6. What you have to use in the second event, the Audi RS6. Can you use your own car? Nope. They loan you a car. So what's even the point that they give you that car? I don't know. I have no idea. And then you play the other events, where you use the Mustang Dark Horse, the Ivory Tower Ochmios, the Ochmios again, and then the Ivory Tower Aces. And then this is a multiple vehicle. Here you use a bike first, BMW bike I think, in off-road, and then it switches. Over here you get the Porsche 911 GT3 RS, And here you have the helicopter. The helicopter coming from the crew 2 brought over. If you had a helicopter there, you will have that car. It will transfer to this game with the same settings, which means that in the beginning of the crew 2, when we flew the helicopter, we pressed on the throttle. That thing actually went on the throttle, but it also went forward. And then the brake, it slowed it down, and then you could go up and down with the lean forward and the lean backwards. And somewhere in the middle of the lifetime of the crew 2, they changed the controls. And now you have to lean forward to actually make that thing go forward. And when you press the throttle, it just goes up. When you hit the brake, it just comes down. But here's where the problem with that is. The throttle input is still on your throttle key. So that means that if you want that helicopter to go down, you press the brake to make it go down, because that's how the new controls work. But then you have no more throttle input. So if you're just flying straight forward and you want to go down with that thing a little bit, you need to hit the brakes and lean forward so that it goes down, but it still keeps going forward. But you have no throttle input, which means it also completely slows down and starts dropping like crazy, because they changed the controls in such a way that forward is now by leaning forward, but they have not mapped the throttle to that. So the throttle is still on your throttle key, and the lean forward is to make it go forward, which means it's wrong. What's wrong with it is that the throttle is still on your going up. So it's like the throttle is now connected to the climbing key. So if you press the key which makes you climb, which is the throttle in this case, then it just goes up and you go up, and if you hit the brakes you slow down and you come down. That all makes sense in a way. But when you lean forward, you also need to press the throttle to get throttle input. So what they should have done is, if they switched these controls, for some reason they did that, they should have put that throttle input also on the lean forward, so that when you fly forward that you have throttle control. Now you don't, because they put it on the climbing button. The throttle input is the same button as when you climb up. And when you go forward by the lean forward key, you have no throttle input, unless you press the climbing key. Which is all fine until you have to come down. Then you have to go off your climbing tree and come down with the brake, but then you have no more throttle input, so which means you don't go forward anymore either. That thing is unflyable. I had to get this event done. I had to put the difficulty on 1 out of 5, because that thing is unflyable. So I hope they never put that thing in the summit, because it's bad. Trust me, it's bad. Also here, the same problem in that police thing. You can do the skill test, you cannot do the pictures. Every time the same as in Japanese playlist. Error code every time you take any of these pictures. It will not work. So again, also here broken. They added 2 playlists, both of them are broken. And it's not the photo mode itself, because you can take a random picture with your friends in free roam, no problem. The photo mode works. It is just within this playlist that it doesn't work. So it's completely broken. The challenges here. I do advise you, before you do the rivals board, that goes as well for the Japanese playlist as for this police playlist. Before you do the rivals, first read all these challenges, because some of them involved, like here for instance, arrest Cinnamon in a rival chase in less than 3 minutes, and it's the same in the Japanese playlist. You have to take out some of the bosses with a certain car, which is the reward car, the Liberty Walk Honda NSX from the Japanese playlist. So make sure otherwise you have to do it 2 or 3 times if you do not read these challenges. That's what I did pretty much. I first completed this rivals board, and then I went to the challenges and came to the conclusion that a lot of these things are involved. Like here, we need to score 1 million points in the rival chase, so we had to go back to the rival chase to do them again. So before you do the rivals, read the challenges in both of the playlists. It will have an influence on that. The difference with the Japanese playlist is that you have to do this rivals board again, but you do not have to race them in the police thing. In the police thing, you have to take them out. That means either you completely destroy him or you block them somewhere against a wall or something so that they can't get out, and then you will arrest them within 8 seconds. So those are the two options to catch them in between brackets. Either you take them out or you arrest them. Those are your two options. Some of the challenges require you to take out some of these bosses. Some of the challenges require you to arrest some of these guys. So keep an eye on that. And then we obviously have the custom mode with the prestige tickets. That is added to every single playlist, not only to the new playlist, but also to the previous playlist. So how does that work? Did I do anything on this one? I don't think so. I think I did something on the other one. Japanese playlist, yeah. Here we completed some because we needed to do some challenges again. Didn't read, so I had to do it again. I did the rivals first and not the challenges, and then we had to do that rivals thing again. And by doing it again, we had to go in custom mode because you needed to do certain events with certain vehicles. In this case, Street Tier 2. Some of these things needed to be done with the Honda NSX, so we had to go back to that with the Liberty Walk Honda NSX, that is. So how does it work? You complete something in this custom mode. You can travel to those events and just select your car and the weather and all that kind of thing, like you used to with the custom. And that will count for this thing. So as you can see here, every time you use one of these things, you will get 10 prestige tickets. If you complete a row, then you can collect another 100 over here. If you complete a column, then you can do another, like here in this case. I've done some of these events already with the Street Tier 2, as you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4. So these are, if I do this one and this one as well, then I would have a column complete, then I can collect another 100 prestige tickets over there. There are a few giveaways here, like for instance here, the drift event. As you can see for this row, it's pretty easy. It can only be done once with a drift car. So you do this thing with a drift car, you get 10 points for this one over here. And then afterwards you can collect the row reward, which is another 100 tickets. So you get 100 from this row, this one plus this one, you get 110 tickets in total. So these are easies. There are a few others that you can check. For instance, in the Japanese playlist volume 1, there is a drag event, which you can only do with a drag car. There is a drift event, which you can only do with a drift car. Those are quick and easy events that you can do for 100 plus tickets. It's all very questionable, this, we will talk about that in a second. I was just going over what's going on. So yeah, the photo challenges in both of the playlists are completely broken. What I also changed is the Grand Race. Also there, I'm asking myself the question, why did you do that and what did you do? And also in Demolition Royale, they added a new arena. One of the challenges in the police playlist requires you to do a Demolition Royale. I waited 5 to 10 minutes there. I think it was about 10 minutes before we actually had a lobby. Was that lobby full? No, of course not. It was just 16 players, half a lobby. Nobody's playing that shit. So be aware, if you have the police, if you have the year 2 and you have that police playlist, in one of the challenges there requires you to do a Demolition Royale. As soon as you have the challenges unlocked, I would immediately do that because it's going to take you ages to find a lobby. And it was not even a full lobby, it was only a half lobby. It's a 32 people lobby, but you need 16 before it actually starts up. It took 10 minutes before we had 16 people in there. So I would do it as quickly as possible, because if you wait a month or so with that thing, you're not gonna find anybody. The Grand Race, yeah, there they came up with the no collision lobbies. First of all, they changed the thing that it doesn't change every half hour anymore. It changes every 20 minutes now. It used to change every 15 minutes and every 40 minutes into the hour. So 9:15, 9:45, 10:15, 10, and so on. Now it changes every 20 minutes it changes 10, 30 and 50. So it's at 6:10, at 6:30, at 6:50, at 7:10 and so on. So like now it just changed, in this case I'm recording here, it's 11:30. It just changed, so it will change again at 11:50 and then at 12:10, 12:30, 12:50 and so on. We still have that same problem. The problem is that in the first 4, 5, 6 corners, it's a ramming fest. And now they decided to, oh, we have no collision lobbies. Yeah, that's in rotation. So some of the lobbies will have no collision. Other lobbies will still have collision like it was in Season 4. So we still have that same problem that in the first couple of corners, it's still a ram fest. And in the other lobby, it just goes slipstreaming to the death and everybody goes equally fast. Except for the people who can't drive a car, because they will still fly out of a corner because they are not used to getting that slipstream and don't realize that approaching a corner that they have to brake a little bit earlier because they are behind the car in slipstream or just in front of a car and getting drag bump, which means they have more speed approaching that corner. So you still see people fly out because they do not know how to drive in slipstream or in drag bump. So yeah, that thing, I don't know what they did there. I asked myself, why did you do this? The ghost mode, I'm all for it, but what they should have done is made that ghost mode available, let's say in the first 33% of the race, till you have the switch to the other car. By that time the field would have spread out a little bit, and then you do the rest of the race with the collisions on. That is fine. You will deal and be 2-3 people together or whatever. Beginning of the race is where the problem is. So now we have a lobby which is completely 100% no collision, and then 20 minutes later it changes, and then it's have a full contact lobby, let's call it that, and you still have that same problem that we always had, where it's a ramming festival in the first 3-4 corners. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe they're testing it or so with in the future make some changes to it, because to me this makes not much sense. Either you do one thing or the other, and preferably we should always have ghost mode within the first 25-30% of the race, so that you don't have the problems in the beginning of the race where 28 people are in the first couple of corners. That's not solved in the collision lobby, it's still the same. It's solved in the no collision lobby, of course. So that's already the first question I asked, why? It makes no sense to me. But we'll see, maybe we'll get some improvements over the time. Main stage. Level 3. The Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution 10 Black Knight Edition. Why is that even in here? You have brought the Prestige shop. If somebody is missing this car, this would have been a perfect opportunity to put the Crew 2 cars, which were available in the Summit in that game, put those in the Prestige ticket shop, and then people could buy cars which they have been missing. Or in case they didn't play the Crew 2, they will be able to buy those cars and get their hands on it. This is one car every month in the main stage. This should always be a new vehicle. This again, for this month, Season 5, we're 1 year into the game, there is still the Crew 2 cars in here, in the main stage. And the same thing is happening exactly here. Now, this is one that I don't immediately recall, so the Ocean Smoke might be something new, I don't think so. That's what we're playing for this week. Next week we are playing for the Enforcer Underglow. This is an Enforcer, this is from the Chase from the Crew 2. That Underglow was available over there. Here we have the orange prismatic Nitro, same story again, comes from the Crew 2, nothing new about it. So yeah, this is repeat from the Crew 2, repeat from the Crew 2. This one probably as well, I can't recall the Ocean Smoke, this might be a new one, I don't think so, but... And then over here we have the Masked Leader in some sort of different version. So this is the only thing useful to play for, as always the Summit. It comes down to that one premium Summit where there's a new car to win. All the rest is copy and paste from the Crew 2. You're playing for nothing, basically. So yeah, a lot of repeats. Other than that, it's still a cheese fest. It's already bad enough that there's direct mode in the game and wheel mode and macro shifting, and people are pressing reset. This summit is... There's a track where there are 4 resets. There is a track where there are 3 resets. The other one has 2. I think there are 10 resets in this summit. I can't be bothered with it. I'm just driving these things. As you can see, my scores are not great, also not bad. We're in the top 500 on Saturday morning, all fine. Platinum guaranteed. That's not the problem. But the problem is, of course, that I don't bother with it. I just drive the cars. Whatever I think of, I drive. I use whatever I have in my garage. I can't be bothered. I use my brakes and I steer. I can't be bothered with pressing resets and whatnot. You have the macro shifting, you have the reset buttons. Then if there are big cuts through the forest, people are lowering their graphics so that they have less trees, so that they can cut through the forest. It's still the biggest cheese fest ever. They have adjusted here and there on some tracks that they are aware of. They have adjusted the checkpoints, and they have put the respawn points before the checkpoint and whatnot. But there are probably another 10-15 races that they are not aware of where people are doing it. And then they come up with these new checkpoints on the new island. They do a summit with races on the new island, one reset after another. So it seems they have fixed some things that they're aware of. That goes for the playlist photos, and that goes for the resets. And then they added some new stuff, which is broken. The new playlists are broken. The photos are not working. The new map is broken again because people are resetting already. When on earth are they gonna understand that within the summit, within the grand race, disable the reset? It's as simple as that. Then you don't have to mess around with replacing checkpoints or fixing respawn points, or get rid of the reset, and then you don't have that problem. Ivory Tower. People are going for a good time here. They're never gonna use that reset like it's meant to be. Like if they get stuck on something, yeah, then they restart the event. It's as simple as that, because otherwise they will have a bad time. So you don't need the reset to get a good time. Now, of course, people are abusing it to get a good time. That's something else. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe one day or another they will understand. And the same goes for Grand Race, of course. People are also resetting all over there. That reset needs to be disabled. Checkpoints need to be placed properly in front and behind the corner. Put 2 checkpoints on the corner if you have to. So yeah, I wouldn't bother too much with the new summits either. Just play it once a month when there's a car to win, and that's it. If you know what you're doing, if you have the yellow sets, then you're good to go. Talking about the yellow sets. We have this new police thing, which means they also added a new set bonus. I played 2 complete playlist events. All of those events in both of the playlists. I played both of the rivals boards, did beat all those games. That's a lot of racing that I've been doing. I have 3 yellow parts. 3 yellow parts. One of them was I got from the events, and the other I had to use that new crafting system that they brought in here, and then hope for the best, because that is also something. You go in here, you press crafting, you can now recalibrate like before. So what they added is the takedown expert, which is a new set bonus. So we have now 7 set bonuses. And they also added a new affix, which is called the extra impact. I have been rolling all kind of stuff here to get next to it, but I couldn't find any other new affix, so I think extra impact is the only new one that they added. And this is pretty much, let's say, a score breaker for the police events. The takedown gives you extra points, and the extra impact gives you even more points. So it's like score breaker and skilled, but then for police events. So they added this thing here. Again, came up with something new. Why is the next question we come up with. If you now have 3 parts, then the set becomes active. That is something they have changed. Like in this case, I have 3 parts. So the set is now active Before you needed a complete set of 7, now you can get half of the percentage, in this case 25. If I would have all 7 pi, then I would get 50%. This is all fine now because this is a new set, but it's the same for the other sets. So you can now have a half of a score breaker set, where I'm asking myself the question, why? Why would you put on a score breaker set, why we could put only 3 parts on there and get 50% of skilled? If the rest of the people in the summit, because that's where you use the score breaker, the people who are playing summits every week, they have 100% bonus. Even if you have 50% bonus, that's not gonna put you into platinum, because you will not be competing with the other guys who all have the 7 parts and have 100% bonus. So what is going on here with this half set bullshit, I have no idea. That's completely waste of time. We are having to spend way more money, and recalibration, and the crafting is also costing you, I think it's 6 times as much as the recalibration. The recalibration is $1,500 and 150 spare parts. The crafting is $9,000 and 900 spare parts. So it costs you 6 times as much, and it's still a bloody lottery. Because you can now merge or craft the parts. Instead of recalibration, you go to merge, and then you can put 3 purple parts, give you a yellow part. But that yellow part, you have 14% chance of getting the set bonus that you're looking for. It's not like you can, you can say like, I have 6 score breakers, but I'm missing the gearbox. Give me a score breaker, please. No. You need to have 3 purple parts, put them in a yellow, and then if it gives you a nitro chemist, yeah, too bad. Then you still have to delete it. So then you need 3 more purple parts to merge it into, and then hope that it's this time the score breaker that you're looking for. More time in the menu, and it is still a lottery. And seeing they added a new set bonus, it's now 1 out of 7, so you have a 14% chance of getting the right affix. By the time you're doing all that bullshit here, because then you still need to collect a bunch of purple parts. I wouldn't even bother by merging blue and green parts because it's completely hopeless. To get 1 yellow part, you need 9 blue parts. To get 1 yellow part, you need 27 green parts. Because you can make the greens into a blue, that's going to cost you 9,000. Then you can make those blue into a purple, that's going to cost you another 9,000. And then eventually you have 3 purples to get to the yellow, and that will cost you another 9,000. So I wouldn't even bother with that. I would just, if I was you, keep your purples. If you have 3, craft them into a yellow part, and then hope for the best that it's you, with your 14% chance of getting what you need, you might get it. I think they could have just left this away and just increased the drop rate for the yellow parts, which is now probably at 5% or so. And that is just a slider in a way that they can change. We know that from the crew too. When a holiday event around December, they did these looted boxes were boosted with up to 60%. They increased it, which means that it's a percentage that they can change whenever they want it, and they just have it very low. So instead of coming up with this crafting bullshit here and these half sets, they could have just left that all away and just increased the yellow drop. That would have been way better, because this is more time in the menu and it's completely useless because it's still a lottery. You have a 14% chance of getting the right set bonus that you want, even if it's only for 1 part. It's even worse with the yellow parts. You can put in 3 yellow parts here to get 1 yellow part. That's a 3-to-1 loss. Makes no sense. You can better sell the 3 yellow parts, and then you get some money and some spare parts from it at least. Completely hopeless. That whole system that they came up with here. Then we have some other questionable things. They added the Porsche 911 GT3 RS, which is a street tier 2 car. We have this police version of the car. This is a hypercar. It's the same car, same year, same car, same performance. They made this into a hypercar. And the normal one is a street car. It's a pretty good street car. I was talking about that. They're pretty good cars. But then I was doing the summit earlier, and I found something else, which was very questionable. There was a escape, and it was mainly highway top speed. So I'm thinking like, okay, highest top speed in hypercar is the Ferrari F12 TDF. That thing can do 509 kilometers an hour. I'm hitting 494 and it goes like limiter. I'm like, strange. So I'm trying the other Ferrari, which was the basically the other cars that went over 500 kilometers an hour whenever I can find them, because that's the other thing. The filters are even worse than before. You take off parts and then it gives you like that whole list again. The Ferrari Enzo could go over 500 kilometers an hour. 494. Limited at 494. The Ferrari F12 TDF limited at 494. The Noble M500 limited at 494. They have limited some of the hypercars top speed to 494 km an hour, which sort of brings them at the same level as the Bugattis. They are also doing 490 something. Can that anywhere be found in the patch notes? Nope. So I'm guessing we're gonna have to test all the cars again, because they have been messing with top speed of cars. And that is of course why you see people using the Porsche Strassenversione, because they have not, or they was not aware of that this could also do 500. This thing limits at 499 now. And that's why you see everybody in the top of the leaderboard on the Escape using this car, because it's the only thing which can approach 500 kilometers an hour. Although there were 3 cars before that went over it, they've done something with those cars. They limited top speed on those cars. So the hypercar, highway cars, also for Grand Race, they're not that great anymore, because they have limited them at the same level as the Bugattis. So probably people have been complaining about it. The devs knew about those 3 cars, they have nerfed them, but they forgot about the Porsche. And probably some other cars which might be able to reach almost 500 kilometers an hour. That's why you see in this week's summit people using this thing out of nowhere, which is a car that they normally never use. Now they're all using it because it's the only thing that can reach 500 kilometers an hour. So yeah, there is that. Which of course also means that we probably have to check all the cars. In Street Tier 2, we sort of have something similar going on. In that way that they added a bunch of cars. And they're all going... you had the Ferrari F40. I haven't driven the Ferrari F40 or the Porsche 993 yet, which was the so-called meta cars in Season 4. But they're limiting out at 386 kilometers an hour. There were already a few cars like the BMW M8 Performance, the Nissan 35, the R35 Haru edition, the Skyline Black Panther edition, and the Hurricane. They went way faster. They went 390 plus, and the Hurricane even 400 plus. They added a bunch of new cars. This thing limits out at 390 or something, 391. This one can do 397 kilometers an hour, the same thing as the Black Panther edition. This one limits out at 392 kilometers an hour, pretty much the same as the Audi RS6, BMW M8 Performance, Nissan Haru edition. This thing limits out at 390 kilometers an hour. So there is no way on earth that Ferrari F40 or Porsche 993 are still good, even in Grand Race. We have now 10 cars which can go faster. And all of these new cars here, the Porsche, the Honda, Liberty Walk Honda that is, the BMW M5 CS, BMW M5 CS Rival Edition from the Rival leaderboard, and this Skyline, they all handle well, they accelerate decent, brakes are decent, they steer decent, and they have a higher top speed than the Ferrari and the Porsche 993. So there is a whole so-called meta cars, there is a whole move for this Season 5. So we're going to do a lot of testing, obviously. We're going to have to do a lot of testing. And seeing they apparently have also been messing with the top speed, we probably have to retest every single car. Because I'm assuming if they have been nerfing down some of the highway hypercars, then I'm assuming that they have done the same. I haven't tested the Hurricane yet. Can it still do 400? Or did they also bring this down to like 390. Is that like the new limitation? Are they limiting out these street cars to 392, and are they limiting out the hypercars to 492? That could be very possible. That seems to be the case. So we're gonna have to test all these vehicles again. Also here, same story with the police things. Let me bring up the style. We now have a new style here, which is called Chase Squad. That's where you can see all the police cars. We have the helicopter. Talking about the helicopter, unlike in the Crew 2 where it had no parts on it, it was level 50 or whatever, you couldn't even put parts on it. It has become an own discipline now. It has a level of 220, which is 50 less than the airplane, so you cannot switch parts with the plane or something like that, no. So you have to grind. I had been opening loot boxes with this thing. I eventually get to max it out at 220 purple. We still need yellow parts. One day or another they're probably going to put this thing in the summit. So what do you need? Probably a nitrochemist with pure and gateway, and probably also a score breaker with skilled in case you have to use this thing for low altitude or something like that. We already had a challenge in the playlist where you had to use this thing for a low altitude feat. I think you had to do 3 feats with a low altitude, which is quite a bit of a problem, as I said, with these reversed controls that they've been messing around with. So yeah, if we ever have to use this in the summit, you're gonna need a score breaker with skilled for the low altitudes, and you're gonna need a pure with gateway for the plane events in a way which you will be able to do with the helicopter as well. I already did one of them because one of the challenges requires you to go to the Ocean and Sky playlist and actually do one of those events with the helicopter, which was quite a challenge, I can tell you that. Seeing that thing doesn't want to fly where you want to go. So yeah, we have the helicopter and we have 3 hypercars. The Aces from Ivory Tower, the Porsche 911 GT3 RS, as I said, in police version that is a hypercar, and the Lykan Hypersports. The Porsche is okay, but it's a bit slow, obviously, because the normal one is a street car. So this is one of those cars again where they need like another category between street and hypercar, and then they don't know what to do. Then they put one car they put in street, the other car they put in hypercar. In this case, it's the same car. They put them in both disciplines. There are some other cars like the KTM Xbo GTX and things like that, which don't really belong in hypercar, but they also don't belong in street, so they don't really know what to do with it. This is one of those as well. This should be like in some sort of new category between streets and hypercar, I guess. So from the hypercars, it's probably going to be the Aces, although a lot of people like the Lykan as well. Personally, I like the Lykan more as well than that Aces. That is, I don't know, there's something wrong with the handling of that car. Been messing with pro settings as much as you want, but it's a bit wompy, or I don't know what it is. It wobbles about and nothing to do. You can stiffen up your anti-roll, it still wobbles about. It's like seems to have some suspension problem or whatever. I don't know. The Lykan is way more stable when it comes to that. So from the hypercars, I would say that this is the best police car. And from the streets, the Audi drives pretty much as the normal RS6, so not bad, top speed wise or whatever, but it is a state after all, station wagon, so not that great. The Ogmios from Ivory Tower, that's a complete new vehicle, that is definitely not that bad either. And the Mustang Dark Horse was a bit heavy, the normal car, and now this police version is no much different. It's a bit heavy, but other than that it's pretty okay. But I think from the streets, it's probably the Ogmios is probably the best from those police cars. Here we have a bit better luck with the set. I already have 6 parts. So yeah, what I'm doing is I'm putting takeaway expert on it with extra impact, and then I put bulldozer next to it. You could potentially do frenetic, maybe might also be an option next to it, because you're ramming these guys and you very often come to a standstill, so you need like that short acceleration boost. The frenetic might actually work next to it. Put in like 5 frenetics and 2 extra pumps or so next to the extra impact, of course, which you need for your scoring. But yeah, we're almost there. But yeah, 3 parts or 6 parts, it doesn't matter. It gives you the 50% bonus now, which makes no sense. Or half the set bonus. In this case, that is 25% because the maximum, if you have a full set, it is 50% max out. So yeah, that's what I'm making those sets. Take away with bulldozer and extra impact. That will be your police set, let's say. So you need one on street and you need one in hypercar. As far as I know, there are no other cars yet. The helicopter, you fly through gates and so like that, but you're not really chasing cars. So at this moment, you don't really need a takedown expert set bonus on the helicopter. But maybe later they bring out some touring cars or whatever, then you might also need a set over there, of course. I don't know if you can even re-roll it at this moment, because from the police squad at the moment, the only thing available is Street Tier 2, hypercar and helicopter. So that is that. So yeah, very questionable all those things that they've added. The way I see it, they added 2 playlists and one they have put behind a paywall, which is $30. Which brings us to the other new thing. Yeah, new thing. The prestige tickets. Also here, I'm wondering, why would I play that? So you have that new custom mode, which you can do in every playlist now, by doing a certain event with all kind of different disciplines, or use a certain discipline and do all the different events. The column and the row thing going on, you can earn prestige tickets. There are also prestige tickets in the summit. If you complete 6 events in the summit, you can get 150 prestige tickets. So it's another currency. We already had the bucks, we had the crew credits, we have the prestige tickets, and then we had the spare parts for the recalibration. So now we have 4 currencies already in the game. I did a few of those things, and then I did my summit, which gave me already 320 tickets. Now I cannot tell you what the car's costing, because I've been playing the game in the first year and I have every single car in this game. So I can't do anything for season 1. I also completed all of this, the engine sounds and the Liberty Walk Underglow. That was a pre-order bonus. I already had that from that. Some tire, which seems to be a pretty standard one. Season 2, also here we have all these cars already. And then, did I miss one summit in January? That's possible, but I don't think so. So I think they added some extra tires and things like that. Probably things that I didn't have from the Crew 2 or so. But I don't think so. I think it's all related to Motorfest. That's my biggest grief with this prestige shop. I think what they should have done is they should have added all the summit cars from the Crew 2. So that people who missed some cars, that they could play for a certain car that they were missing. Like for instance, if I look in my shop here, and then I put the filter on the vehicle. In my case, I'm missing 9 vehicles. What are they? They're all summit cars from the Crew 2. When I was on holidays or whatever, over the year, I missed 9 of them. And these are all of them. So if they would have put these things in the prestige shop, then I would have something to play for. Now I have nothing to play for. If you just played your summit and you have your yellow sets and you complete that every month and you have the car every month, like 10,000 people every month will get the car, then you have nothing to play for. And you have nothing to play for in this shop, because then you will have all these vehicles. So I can also not tell you what they cost, but I believe it's like 5,000, 8,000, 6,000, something like that, depending a bit on the car. And the I'm assuming that the hypercars are a bit more expensive than the street cars. But yeah, so it's a bit, I don't know. Cannot say much about that custom show. I'm trying to find a reason to actually do this shit, but at the moment I can't find it. Because why would I start grinding all these boards here? Try to get the row completed and the column completed and try to get this whole board in every playlist. I did a test, I counted here, like in this playlist, I believe there are collectibles from the column and from the row is about 1,800 tickets. plus 10 tickets for every of these little events here, right? So if you do this, that's every time 10 points. So it's somewhere between 2 and 3,000 tickets available in every of the playlists. There are 22 playlists at this moment in the game. So yeah, you can get somewhere between 60,000, 50 and 70,000, somewhere in between there you can get tickets. But why would I start grinding for that if there is nothing in the prestige shop that I can buy? If you just play the game in the first year, you have everything that is in that shop. So for people who have missed cars from the Crew 2, and also for new people who maybe didn't play the Crew 2, it would be way more interesting if they also added the Crew 2 Summit cars into that prestige shop. Then everybody would have something to play for. Now, if you played the game in the first year, you did all the summits, you have all the cars, there's nothing to play for. So why on earth would you grind out these custom boards in every of the playlists if there is no reward behind it? It's like, you need to have an incentive to grind the, you know, I don't mind grinding, but there needs to be something at the end of the road, and there isn't. Because everything is checked in that whatever they give us available. That makes no sense to me. So all in all, this season 5, we have a new island to explore, but also that's all pretty cool. It's mostly because, you know, when we do Grand Race now, we have some new routes to discover, and that is all fine and that is all cool and fun, but that will only last for a month or so, and then you also completely know about that island. So content wise, it comes down to 2 playlists. They added the crafting, which makes no sense. If they would have just increased the drop rate of the yellow parts, that would have been way better. Then people can get their sets way quicker. They only want to make this some sort of grind to try to slow us down, with a simple reason behind it, that there is no content other than a playlist every 4 months. Sometimes 2 playlists in some of the seasons, but there were, like in the first year, there were some seasons where there were 2 playlists, but most of them were just 1 playlist. So 1 playlist every 4 months. I haven't even played that hard. We are Saturday morning, the thing released on Wednesday, so we're 4 days in. I have completed both playlists. It's not enough, it's like it's the only thing in the game, it's their playlist. And then most people, let's face it, most people just do the events. They don't even bother with the side activities or the challenges or the rivals board. They will probably do because there are cars in there. But the challenges, nobody cares. Also there again, that same thing is happening again. Also in the previous playlists from the season, there was a problem. It didn't show certain pictures when it came to these challenges. They fixed that. The pictures are now back, as you can see. These pictures here, they are back in the other playlist, but then we come to, if I can find it. Reach the top 15 in a grand race. There is no picture here. This is not with any car. This needs to be done with the reward car from the playlist. It doesn't say that anywhere here. It doesn't show the picture. It's always a problem. Some people don't know that it needs to be done with the rewards car, and then, hey, this thing is not working. It is working. Needs to be done when you go to events. You go to the top. You have this thing over here. You have these 2 dots. Click on that second dot or go arrow right or stick right. It will show you that vehicle. This is the reward from the playlist. That's where you need to get the top 15 in Grand Race with this car. It works. I did it with this car. I finished in 2nd place, top 15, check, and it was checked. But so in other words, that picture which they have fixed in the previous season's playlist is also again not available here. Whatever it was. So there is some information missing here, right? Reach the top 15 in Grand Race. It should say, either it should say with the playlist reward, or with the Liberty Walk Honda NSX, or it should just show that picture here or something like that. Now it just says reach the top 15 in Grand Race. Some people might think, oh, we can do this with any car. It doesn't work. And then they go complain on the Discord that it's not working. So yeah, again, they fixed all kind of things which they knew was broken from season 4. They have now fixed. Then they brought in 2 new playlists. The photo mode is broken in both of those things. There are still challenges, the same as in the previous playlist. The pictures are missing here for things that you need to use, so you need to figure it out. Oh, it needs to be the playlist reward. Just like in the previous, but if you're a new player, you don't know that. If you're an experienced player, you know that because we had the same problems in the other playlists at some point or another. And that's it. We have 2 new playlists. The photo challenges are broken. Some of the pictures are not showing, so people don't know which car to use. The Grand Race, no collision. Yeah, make up your mind, Ivory Tower. Either you make it no collision or you make it collision, but not some sort of half-half. That makes no sense. The best thing you could do is make it no collision the first 33%, and then the last 66% you put the collision back on. That's fine. By that time the field would have spread out, problem solved. Demolition Royale, get rid of it, Ivory Tower. Seriously, get rid of it. Nobody plays it. You need to sit there for 10 minutes to even find a lobby. And that of course has much to do with the fact that you're driving around in these high cornfields or sunflower fields. You can't see where you're going. But hey, everybody's happy about new working mirrors, I guess. Every single video out there, every single stream that I see out there, people are driving with the camera from behind. Who cares about the working mirrors? There may be like a minority of the people. I think you should better focus on trying to fix some of these things. Get rid of the reset button, fix some of these things. If you add something new, make sure that it works. Half the things do not work in that playlist. Custom mode, yeah, that's all fine. Prestige tickets, great idea, bad execution. There is nothing in the Prestige shop where we can actually play for. Put the Crew 2 cars in there. Simple and easy. The Summit cars, the Motorfest cars, things that people could not get or can't get in this game, because there are a bunch of them which are not in this game yet. Unless you have it from the Crew 2 and it's already in your garage. So that is something. Stop messing with cars. Why suddenly three of the hybrid cars suddenly have less top speed? And those are the only 3 that I tried in the escapes. It's very possible that they messed with every single car top speed wise. Probably to make you not go too fast on that new island, because if you look at the new island, there's a lot of highway out there. This is all highway over here. It goes around here, goes through here, goes around here, and then in the article when they were posting about this, they were like, oh yeah, more than half of the roads are dirt. I played the whole playlist, both Japanese as the police. We haven't been on a dirt road once. So apparently half of this island has dirt roads. If you not go explore yourself, there is no event on any of these dirt roads. Not one single event. So it's supposed to have almost half of it, or even more than half of it, should be dirt roads. I have no idea. I've been playing for 3 days. I've only been on asphalt so far. So also that, if you want to focus on the dirt roads, and that's all fine, then give us some dirt tracks to go through. I did 1 grand race. We started over there with already some questionable things that we were doing there. I think we started somewhere in the city. Then we drove into the tunnel here and drove onto that track, and then we jumped up back off, all in Alpha GP. Was very interesting. Then I hit somewhere on this first thing here. There is a little bit of a rock here because of the new physics of the police, which are ridiculous. If you hit a car with police car, they fly to the moon, and the same thing is happening now with all cars. If I hit a little rock there in the corner, I flew, I think, 10 meters in the air. I just overtook the second guy, so I was in first place actually. I just overtook him in that corner, and I hit that rock. I flew 8. I suddenly was in 9th place before I landed again. That's how high you fly now with this new physics because of the police thing. And then we drove to the other island where we switched to a rally car. So I thought like, okay, cool. Now we're gonna see the dirt roads. No. We drove 33% in a rally car and it was all on asphalt. We never saw any dirt road. So we still have that same problem as the previous season. They put rally and rally raid on there and we're driving on asphalt. While half of the island is supposed to be dirt roads. There are dirt roads here on the volcano and whatnot, but I have not seen, not any event, not in the Japanese playlist, not in the police playlist, not any event is taking place on a dirt road. Some of them are happening here on the school there, the squad school where you have to smash some things. Then oh yeah, there are some other things, these stupid emote things. Also broken, it's not working. Go to game settings, you have this new thing here. Enable AI emote, that's for the police. They are spamming cat emotes the whole freaking time. You put this thing off, it doesn't matter. They're still spawning it, so this thing is also broken. Yeah, the new feature in here, you put it off and they're still spamming emotes in front of your screen and you can't see where you're going or whatever half the time. Stupid as hell. Also the rivals here, if you don't want to see them, notification every time you see them, you can put that off here. That's also something they added. So that you don't get a notification every time you arrive close nearby one of those rival guys. Because they are just driving around in free roam. You cannot put them off, but you can put up the notifications. So that it doesn't always pop up like, hey, there is a new guy here. Although you have beaten them already, the whole leaderboard. There are a few other things. One of the challenges in the playlist of Japan requires you to register a Nissan. That needs to be a Nissan. That's not the KRC Japan, because that's another brand. So yeah, that's also something you do these events, and I registered, for instance, I registered a Honda 2000 for the event. And then we come to that playlist, and then I needed to register a Nissan. So I registered a Nissan to get the challenge going, and then I registered this KRC. Put on everything red nitro, red smoke, red window tint, in case somebody needs it, they can buy it. Talking about vanity, yeah, that is still a joke. I'm sorry, but the prices of the vanities this season are still even worse. 70,000 crew credits for a police light. That is $7 for a police light. $4 for some blue tire, which probably nobody ever uses. You know, and then all the rest, where they're also charging new people money for, or all the crew too. I do not buy vanity in this shop ever. So all these green checks that you see here, that means that it's something from the crew too, otherwise I would not have it in my garage. That's all earned through summits and motor pass and hobbies and whatnot, because I do not buy vanity. I didn't buy it in the crew too. I'm definitely gonna not buy it. The prices here are even worse. In the crew 2 we were talking about 7, 8,000, 10,000 crew credits. Here it's 70,000, 40,000, like it's nothing. But 10,000 crew credits is $1. That's how you need to look at that. So yeah, I bought the. I actually spent $50 on this game this year, because I bought the year 2 pass, and I also bought the 220,000 crew credit pack, not to get the crew credits, because as I said, I don't use them, but to get my car collection complete. And that, of course, that is my choice. I would not advise it to you, but hey, it is the only way to get the Audi. The Audi R8 Spider Motorfest edition is locked, also behind the paywall. You need to buy a $20 pack of crew credits, which gives you 220,000 crew credits plus this car. So that's $20. The new playlist is $30. It's one playlist with 7 cars. That's what you're paying for. And then you have the thing where people that bought an Ultimate Edition a couple of weeks ago, they now came up with a new Ultimate Edition for the same price, but it includes the year 2 pass. And people who bought the game 2-3 weeks ago, they do not get that year 2 pass. They have to buy it separately. They also do not get the option to upgrade to the latest version of the Ultimate, so that for $10 or so with a discount. No, never seen that in any game. How greedy can you be, Ubisoft? Oh, we still have some street parts by the looks of it. Well, maybe I can show you that stupid thing that they have added. Then you will see how stupid it is. I don't know how many I have though. What did I do? Did I filter on something? Probably. So apparently we have some no, that's the hypercar. I do have some street parts apparently. 29 parts. Let's see what we can find. Nothing. So that's the other bullshit that you still have. Yeah, look at all these motor car parts. So yeah, what you can do now, for those who haven't figured that out yet, I will show you how the crafting works. Let me have a look. We can make one yellow, okay. So yeah, I'm gonna delete the blue ones. Anything lower than blue I would advise you just delete it, because there's no point. There's no point in merging that or crafting that. So, I already have a takedown part, as you can see, but I still have 2 yellows sitting in here and 3 purples. So what you can do now, you can press on crafting over here, and then you can either decide to recalibrate that part or to merge it, which is the actual crafting. So we go to merge, and then you just select those 3 purples that you have sitting in here, and then you can merge it for 9,000 bucks and 9,000 spare parts. So it's 6 times as much as a recalibration, this crafting bullshit, and you don't know what you're gonna get. The only thing it's gonna give you is a yellow part. But let's say we want a nitrochemist. Good luck, you have 14% chance of getting it. Oh, too bad. That just costed me 9,000 bucks for no reason, because we have a loot digger, which we can now collect. So, but hey, we have 3 yellow parts here. Let's do a 3-to-1 loss, shall we? Look at that. For 4,500, so you can get it for half price. You need to give 3 yellow parts to get 1 yellow part back. Oh, too bad. Score breaker. So we just lost 3 yellow parts. We still don't have a nitrochemist. So we need to delete that score breaker, because we still did not have the nitrochemist that we were looking for. Now in this case I'm not looking for it, I'm looking for the thing that I already had one. Just to show you how much of a waste that bullshit is that they added. And then here, where you do need the yellow part, they give you 2 greens, 2 blues and 1 purple. So even with the crafting, you don't have enough parts, because you need 3 greens to make a blue, you need 3 blues to make a purple, you need 3 purples to make a yellow. So what I need to now, I need to go out and open a box to find another purple, and then maybe a blue, and then I can make from the 3 blues, I can make my 3rd purple if I find another purple as well. Or you need 27 greens to eventually get to a yellow part. By that time you have found it in the box or by doing events. Stupid system. Can't call it otherwise. And yeah, it's and you see how it is. The only part, the brakes, where I still need the yellow part, does not give you enough part to make yellow, and it also doesn't even give you any yellow. So you end up with that same bullshit multi-scrap, which is still the same problem. Green, blue, purple. Where is yellow? Let us select yellow as well. If people don't want to lose their yellow, then they do not select yellow, that's fine. But put yellow in here so we can also delete the yellows that we don't want. Now we have to go back and delete the yellow ones one by one. The other ones you can scrap with the multi-scrap. So now I still need to see, do I don't have any double yellows, because I cannot select that, it's still. So yeah, that's crafting business. If I was you, especially if you're a new player, you don't have that much money, I wouldn't bother with it, because it's costing you 6 times as much as recalibration. And it's still a lottery, because you are still not guaranteed that you're gonna get the yellow set bonus that you're looking for that one part that you're trying to craft. That system would have been interesting if they would have let us select the crafting set bonus. If you put in 3 purple parts there and they say like, hey, give me a takedown expert in this case on the brakes. If I have 3 purple brakes, then I can craft it into a yellow takedown expert brake. And I can complete my set. That would make sense if we could select the set bonus for the crafting. But we can't. So you have 1 chance of 7 of getting the right set bonus. At this moment in time, because who knows what they come up with. If they come up with another set bonus for the next season, you never know. Then it's 1 chance out of 8. Then your percentage goes down to 12%. So yeah, the 50% set makes no sense to me. People who are using a score breaker in the summit, they have 100% set. What can you do with a half a set? I mean, nothing. You're not going to get into platinum because of it. The difference is too big with 100%, you know. And the crafting, yeah, I don't know. Just a money sink, I guess, because it's costing you 6 times as much as recalibration, and it's still as much a lottery as opening a box outside or doing an event where you also have to hope on the lottery gods that you get the right part with the right set bonus. It's the same with the crafting. Crafting, good idea, bad execution. The half set bonus, that was not even a good idea. The no collisions in the summit, sure, but also bad execution. They should have made it the first 30% or so, instead of 1 lobby with, 1 lobby without. Yeah. Then the lobby with collision, you still have that same problem where you have a bunch of ramming kits in the first 5 corners. As you can hear, I am not the most positive person around when it comes to Season 5. Missed opportunities. That's all I can say about it. A lot of missed opportunities. A few good ideas which they have executed bad. They have fixed some things in the playlists from the previous seasons, but then the new playlist that they brought in, they have broken again. Car pictures are missing for things that you need to do, like get to top 15. The photo challenges on itself are completely broken, give an error code every time. It's not my game, it's not my system. I looked on the Discord, there are already community feedback threads about it. 10, 15, 20 people having the same problem. So I can assure you that it is broken. So you can't finish your playlist, basically. So yeah, that is sort of the summary of what we have experienced in the first 3-4 days of Season 5. That is also the summary for the next 4 months, I guess, because that is the content for Season 5. 2 new playlists. A bunch of menu stuff which doesn't make much sense or doesn't do anything other than costing you some money and hoping on the gods of the lottery. Prestige ticket shop. Great idea, bad execution. There is nothing for the majority of players. They have those cars that are in the shop already in their garage. So that prestige shop, that's only for new players, I guess. For the ones who have missed, right? It's put the Crew 2 cars in there. Summit cars from the Crew 2, Motor Pass cars from the Crew 2. Put those in the prestige shop. And not 1 or 2, just put them all in there and let people choose the car that they want to play for. The one that they are missing. That way people can get their collection together. That would make sense. This thing, Summit car from 2 months ago. Yeah, that's all fine for the people who were not in the top 10,000 and missed the car. That is all fine, I understand it. So put them in there, but also add the Crew 2 cars. The main stage, get rid of the Crew 2 car in the main stage. It's 1 car a month. I'm pretty sure you can fix it to put in 1 new car there every month. Give us at least something to play for. We've been supporting you for like freaking 10 years since the Crew 1 begun. It's about time you give us from time to time a new car, and not only on the beginning of a new season or beginning of a new year of the game. There is way too much stuff in the summit, in the main stage, which is still related to the Crew 2. You come up with this prestige shop, great idea, put it in there so people can buy it, but don't put Motorfest cars in that makes no sense. Yeah, that's good for new players. All the rest of us who have been playing for a year, they have these cars. Anyway. To put it in summary, Season 5 for me is just 2 new playlists. I play 3 days and they are done with it. Well, at least what I could do, because the photo challenges are broken. That will be it. We'll see what we do with it. I guess the same as before. From time to time we show up to do a summit. From time to time we show up to do some grand races. That's the only thing content-wise where you can have a bit of fun in. And every 4 months we come back to do the new playlist, I guess. Pretty power though. New island full of dirt roads. There's not one single dirt event in the new playlist. While your island is half full of dirt roads. Same with Grand Race. Rally, it's on the road, on the asphalt. Anyway, we'll be back on stream, of course. Mainly doing Grand Race, probably. And then from time to time the summit on Wednesday. That's probably once a month when there is a car to win, because why would I even play summits for the Crew 2 summit stuff, which we already have? Way too much to Crew 2 stuff in the main stage and in the summit. They really need to start understanding that this is not only about new players. There are also a bunch of the Crew 2 and the Crew 1 players even who are playing the Motorfest. You also need to give those people something. After all, we are long-time supporters for your franchise. That will be it. Thanks for watching. My vision or my opinion about the Season 5. I'm not as positive as some other people. Especially since they also seem to have been messing in with nerving cars and things like that. Thanks for watching, guys. See you guys in the next one. Bye bye.